Hi, and welcome back to Living on Slow Time. If you're new here, my name's Kathy, and this is my camper kitchen. Now, it looks a little different than what you're used to seeing. I've got cupboards open and things laying out all over the counters. That's because today I thought I'd take you inside my cabinets and show you what are things that I feel are important to have in my RV. Now, we live in our RV full time and have been doing so for 6 years now. So we've learned a few things. We've traded things out. Some things may be for you, some things may not be. If you're a weekender, a part-timer, a full-timer, it all depends on you and your particular situation is what's going to be best for you. But I thought I would take you inside here and show you what I've got. Let's get started. Now in the pantry, I've got a lot of these containers that have the locking lids on them. And I really like locking lids because of the fact that it not only keeps any insects from getting in there, but it also keeps things a lot fresher. So I've got those, a couple of them up here with tea bags and such. I've got one here from my snacks. Now over here on this side, I've got one of these. So this is just a clear container with a high wall to it. This houses all of my condiments. So that way, whenever I go to travel, I have less to worry with trying to pack everything up and make it so everything doesn't move. And then down here, I've got a large one that fits perfectly here on my bottom shelf. And that's for all of my canned goods. You know how they like to roll around and everything. This just keeps it all contained. Now down here on the bottom, you'll see I've got my crock pot back here in the back. That's where I keep that stored at all the time. Now you'll see it over on the stove in just a little bit. But this I use as a way of using my vertical space. I've got a pie dish back here, and then I keep like my tortillas. I've got an extra graham cracker crust back here, and that just helps me use that vertical space instead of just crowding everything all on top of my canned goods. Now on the door, you'll notice I've got my apron hanging up here. Now I do need a new one because I got bleach on it when I was doing a project one day. But I have the command hooks up here at the top. You'll see various hooks all throughout the camper. Now over here on the counter, this is where I was talking that I had some of the dishes out. Now these are the dishes that was in that top drawer inside the pantry. They're glass containers. They've got silicone wraps on them, and they just nest right down inside each other. There's certain things in an RV that you really need, and that's things that nest inside each other, things that collapse, things that go vertical. So you're going to see quite a bit of that going on here in the house. But these right here are fantastic. They come, it's a set of 4 of them. They come with the lids. They've got rubber around here, so they are leak proof. And the lids just snap right on top and close down. So you're not going to have any spillage inside of your refrigerator if you've got some leftovers or anything like that in there. I just love them. That was like one of the, I think about one of my most favorite things that I found actually. Now, this is another use for just a little plastic container. This one here, I put all of my lids in because you know how those lid drawers get in your sticks and bricks house. I keep all of my lids just inside one, and I keep it up against the wall in my cabinet. Now I mentioned nesting, so here's the bowls. Now I've got 2 different sets of bowls in here actually. I've got a set of Tupperware bowls, of which one of them is in use right now, that nest inside each other, and then this 3-piece set that nests. But what I found is that they actually nested inside of each other quite well as 2, so that they all can just fit right up in one location. So one little section of this cabinet holds all of that stuff. Now in the sink area, I've got several different things here. I've got my dish strainer, and now this is one that sits on top of the sink, is adjustable, and it fits perfectly across here no matter what size your sink is because you can just adjust it there. Now inside the sink, I don't use this all the time, but when we are dry camping or camping at a place that we don't have full hookups, that's when this comes in handy. And you know how I mentioned collapsible? This is a collapsible dish pan. So this actually, I used it in our reflection when we had it because it had one of the farm sinks in it. So it was just a single sink all the way across. And I really thought I would like that, but then I turned out that I didn't. So I bought this collapsible dish pan. It even has a little drain plug in it so that you can let the water out when you're done, but then it collapses down whenever it's not in use, and you can just store it up inside one of your cabinets. Now also over here, you'll see that I've actually got my soaps and everything sitting on top of a little silicone tray with a little spout on it, because water tends to get all over the place and you really don't want it getting back here up against the wall and everything. So I have a large one there, but then also on this side, I've got a smaller one that's actually a soap dish. It came in the same package, but it's a soap dish, and I just put it underneath here because these faucets, the handles are on the side. That makes it so that you drip water all over the place whenever you keep turning the water off and everything. Now here you'll see that there is another silicone mat over here. This is actually a little silicone drying rack. This is where when we're washing dishes, we put the main dishes and bowls and pots in here. And this is where we'll actually drain our cups. And then of course you've got your standard drying mat. I keep that with this too, just in case I have a few extra dishes. Now up top, up here, we've got this little shelf. You can actually get that so that you can have multiple layers. Here's that vertical space again. So I've got all of the paper plates and everything here. And then on top of it, I keep just other little plates up there that are not breakable. So if they do slide or something, it's not going to matter because they're not going to break. Now in between there and where I keep the cups, I've got another little bin in here. I think this was a Dollar Tree find here, but that's where we keep all the lids to our cups over here. So that keeps those all contained. Containment. There's another word you'll hear a lot. So then down here, you can't see it, so I'm going to bring it up, is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is a step stool. It is collapsible, so it closes right down, but when you're as short as I am, you can't reach up into the top parts of these cabinets without having a stool. So to me, that's a very important item. I see maps out. We've been doing some trip planning, so be sure to subscribe so you see where we're headed. Right, this is more of a vantage point you're used to seeing when I'm cooking. So here we've got several of the items that I really love, and that is my kitchen scale. I do use it occasionally in baking and everything, but I really like it for portion control. Now here is our silicone mats. I actually got it for Christmas from my son. And that is what I use for my baking and everything. It comes in very handy to put underneath of dishes. If you haven't seen my watermelon video, take a look at that. I use a silicone mat under my cutting board to keep it from moving around. And then I've got my set of wooden cutting boards, and I just love these. I've had them for years. It's about time for me to actually replace them. I had them in the sticks and bricks. Like I said, we've been living full-time in our RV for 6 years now, so I've had them for quite some time. Now, I chose to bring my Corel because Corel, it travels very well. One thing about it, it's hard to break. That being said, if one does happen to fall to the ground and break, they break into a million shards. I keep it down in a bottom drawer down here at the base of my island, and that keeps it low, so there's no chance of them falling and breaking everywhere. Now, these are the ice cube trays that I have. You'll find that in RV freezers, the ice cube trays just don't fit very well in there. And I found these, and they're much shorter than the others. Some people like to get the big ice makers, but Frank's the only one that really uses ice in the house, so ice trays worked out great for us. Now, the last thing over here on top is my paper towel holder. I like to have a paper towel holder that is maneuverable. So I got one that has the little ring on top so that I can just come and grab this and take it outside with me. Wherever I need to use my paper towels, I can do that. Now over here, something you see me grab out quite a lot and take with me, and that's one reason I like it all contained. You know, spice jars just like to fall over all the time and everything, but keeping them inside these little plastic containers, it keeps them containers keep them all contained. Imagine that. But anyway, it makes it very convenient to be able to grab it and go. This smaller one that I keep on my bottom shelf here houses all of my spices that I use on a very regular basis. So that makes it so I can just grab this, take it outside if I'm cooking outside, or if I need everything over at the island. And then on top, I've just got a bigger one that keeps all the spices that I don't use quite as frequently. So I've just got a little 5-cup Mr. coffee pot. It works fine for me. I have about 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and so that's just perfect for me. I find that a crock pot is just fantastic. If we're out at the campsite somewhere and we're out exploring, I start dinner before we leave to go mess around and adventure around. And then when we come home in the evening, dinner's ready. So it's, I mean, fantastic. I mean, you can't get a better small appliance unless it's the Instapot. So I love my Instapot. And I know some people will say that, well, it works as a slow cooker too. I find that the Instapot doesn't work as well as a regular crock pot. That's why I've kept this smaller crock pot all these years. But my Instapot, I put it underneath my sink in the kitchen here, and it travels down there. But you know, you forget to lay some meat out or something, you've got frozen chicken, you can pop it in the Instapot, go get changed, cleaned up, come in, make a couple sides, and the main dish is done. So now down here in the oven, as unpredictable as camper ovens can be, an oven thermometer is a game changer because you will learn as to what your oven temperatures are, because I can guarantee you that what you set on that dial is not going to be the same as what that temperature is inside. Let's go inside the island now. We'll start out in here. I know you see my KitchenAid. Not everybody has a KitchenAid or needs a KitchenAid. It took me years to get one. I had it my sticks and bricks, and I had to have it with me. So in here, we've got here's the stackable nesting. Now they're all a Mod Podge of little measuring cups, but it works for me. And let's come in a little closer. So in here, you'll see the canisters that I've got back here. I've got the sugar, the flours, and then back here in the back, we've got our powdered sugar, cocoa powder, and all of that back there. Here again, it's another one of those plastic containers and keeps things from falling over, even whenever you're just doing your general baking or anything. Things fall over all the time and stuff. That keeps this from happening. So I like having things contained in there. Over here on the door, you'll see I've got a command hook, and that holds my silicone pot holders here. So these are the pot holders that are versatile. You can use them underneath a hot plate if you're holding it. You can put it underneath your cutting board to keep it from moving around. Now over on this side, these are the fun ones. Baby shark, 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 shark. I don't know how the song goes. But anyway, I have the little pinch-in oven mitts. Much more convenient for living in a camper to have the smaller mitts like that. They nest inside each other. You see me using these all the time in my cooking, and they usually stay up next to my stove, but this is where they hang when we're going to be traveling and such. So my canisters that I have are amazing. So these have locking lids on all 4 sides, so I don't have to worry about anything spilling out if it topples over. It has a rubber seal around it to keep any insects and moisture out of the canisters, so it's not affecting my flours and sugars or anything like that. They stack on top of each other, and they do ride in my island down there, stacked on top of each other. Occasionally one may topple over or something, but nothing has ever spilled out of them, and I've never had a problem with them at all down there riding. The other thing that I got is vegetable and fruit bins. Now I used to have one of the round baskets with a hanger for my bananas and everything, but it became, quite honestly, a little bit of a pain to find something to do with it on travel days. I had to tuck it off into the pantry, and if the pantry was full because we were going on a big trip, it just was hard to find a good place for that to actually travel. So I found these, and they have been game changing. I have Velcroed them to the back wall with command Velcro strips. I've used some of the command hooks one on the back wall, and a few down here along the bottom attached to the countertop. And these do not move. They travel right here, and I have not had a single problem with them. Kind of feel like I'm doing a Tupperware demonstration. But anyway, down here we've got two things here that, because of humidity, humidity is not good for the inside of your RV, so you want to keep that under control. We're from Florida, we're used to the humidity, and so we have a large dehumidifier. Now this here has been a game changer because we only need the one dehumidifier and it takes care of the entire rig. We keep it here next to the island here in the kitchen. The laundry, as you've seen before, is just right across the living room right here from it. It really helps keep the humidity down inside. We had no problem with condensation on the windows or anything like that this winter. And we were in South Georgia and actually got snow down there. I'll have to put a short on about me doing a snow angel. The other thing that we use is damp rid, and you'll see that when we go up into my closet. You'll see one hanging in there. These are the hanging style. So because our closet is in a slide, it tends to get warmer inside there. And so I do keep these inside of our closets. Now I'm going to scoot this a little bit. Well, I'll scoot myself. Okay. Goodness, I'm too old for this. So, a couple of things, a Zevo system. Now this is a flying insect trap is what it is, and it just plugs in. It has a little blue light, and it has a little sticky piece that goes right down in here. I have to replace mine, so that's what I have these. But it goes right in here, you plug it in, and it attracts those flying bugs, and they stick to that. So coming on around to laundry, this is another collapsible item. This is our laundry basket. So when we're transferring clothes back and forth between the washer and the dryer, we use this. When it's not in use, we just fold it up, and then we just slide this just right in between the wall and the washer inside the cabinet there. So that was perfect because it is so skinny. Shelf liner. Now this is a multi-purpose item, and I do keep an extra roll around just because you never know when you might need it. So it's a shelf liner. It goes between your dishes. You can use it between your pots or your non-stick skillets or something of that nature to keep them from getting scratched up, because it's like an earthquake in here and everything is moving. So a roll of this comes in very handy. Now in the bathroom, I use magic erasers to clean my shower. I use a magic eraser and then a mixture of Dawn dish liquid water and white vinegar. And that cuts through any soap residue that's there. It takes care of hard water spots and such as that. That's what I use on my glass shower doors as well. And just a good old magic eraser. Now the last thing down here, you may not be able to see the top of it up here, is a fan. Here we talk about that vertical space again. So it has a very small footprint and it goes vertical. It has been absolutely fantastic. It just rides on the bed whenever we're traveling. So in here in the bathroom, I've got my toilet paper holder. Now usually it's sitting over here in the corner, but I couldn't get down far enough to be able to get this in here. But this is the toilet paper holder that we decided to get. It stands up. You can move it around if you need to or anything like that. It holds 3 extra rolls of toilet paper at the bottom, which weights it down. This actually stays in that corner and travels in that corner. It's fallen over a couple of times, but typically it's upright whenever we get to our location. Now, in here, we've got a couple of things. Here you'll see some of the little standard plastic containers. These are items we really don't get to a whole lot. Down here is like extra toiletry items. This one is in a drawer, and that way all of that stuff can be contained and it just stays in its place. Now down here, this was a neat little fun little craft that my sister-in-law and I did one year. Gosh, that's probably been 7 or 8 years ago, and I still have it. This is an old like Clorox or Lysol wipe container, and all we did was Mod Podge some cute paper. It's just a craft paper on here, but I thought that was very cute. And that's what I keep my grocery bags down in, and I reuse those to line my bathroom garbage with. So that's just a cute little thing. I saw it. in here. Here's one thing that I really love, and this is our Turkish towels. These towels are huge. I don't know if you can even see the bottom of them or not, but they're a huge towel. They're a thin towel, but they absorb so well. I've used these for a tablecloth. We use them for bath towels. I mean, just anything. They can be used for so many things. Go to the beach, go to the pool, any of that. And they take up minimal space, which you know I love. And we can stack 6 or 8 of them up in here. I think we've got a pack of 6, 3 for him, 3 for me. And then they have the hand towels as well. And so these are a nice large towel, but they dry so quickly. And that's very, very important in a camper, is to have items that dry very quickly, because you don't want to keep that moisture around. Now, one thing we do is when we initially get out of the shower, whoever gets out of the shower last gets to hang theirs up on the shower doors. The other one just comes over here on the hooks over here on the wall. Again, command hooks. So here in the closet, you'll see that I've got like my big bulky winter stuff I've packed away in a tub underneath the bed now. But this is all of my summer attire, some lightweight just in case it gets cool in the evening. I bought the thin velvet hangers. So these not only, when you're moving down the road, keep items from falling off because the clothing hangs on to the hanger, but they're also a trim thin line so that you can actually hang up more items closer together in here. Now, some people don't like them because of the fact that they hang onto the clothes so well. I prefer to have them so that they're not falling when I travel. In our reflection, we had a east-west bed. In other words, the bed sat in a slide, so the whole front cap was our closet. And it had shelving back in behind at the very back of the closet. And I found these, and they worked so well as drawers because they fit perfectly into that little space. They had handles, so when I needed something, I could just pull it out and then slide it back into its place. Now, I only kept one here and gave the rest to a friend, but it fits perfectly right here. So it just kind of gave me a little bit of extra space right there, but that has worked really well for us. And here's that damp red hanging up in here, and just to keep that moisture out, again, because it gets warm in there because it is in a slide. So hopefully you enjoyed the inside deep dive tour into my home, and hopefully you picked up a few ideas for organization or tips and tricks for ways to make things travel smoother for you on your travel days. We'll leave links down below for the items that I can find links for still. Like I mentioned, some things I've had for many years, but I'll look to see how many links that I can find for you. I'll put those down in the description. If you haven't done so already, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. We love having you here with us, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.